Big Perm, better known as El Jefe of the barbecue community or Zilla'S Pit Barbecue. Today I come to you, man, to show you my awesome smoke sessions. You're going to get a sneak peek into how I take care of my business. I'm going to give you an inside look on Zilla'S Pit Barbecue, and we most definitely going to have some fun today. So first, before we able to do anything, before we get this party started, let's go ahead and get this fire cracking first. I use a stick burner. That way we don't get all the impurities and stuff that we use in a regular old lighter fluid. So I let this go and I put it on a bed of Kingsford charcoal to get you a nice good cold bed going on. What I smoke with primarily is peachwood. And the reason why I use peachwood is because it's a light flavor. And especially because I'm from Tennessee, peachwood marries with pork easily. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick a couple of sticks in right now, cut my temperature control system on, and then next thing you know, bam, we up to temp. And while we getting up to temp, I'm going to show you how we flavor our meat, especially the ribs, which I'm known to be awesome in. What up? So now we got a couple of sticks in. You don't want to put too much because you don't want to billow a lot of smoke in here, get a lot of impurities in your smoke chamber. But now let's go ahead and throw that flame or that propane torch on there and get it a little bit more cracking. Trusty side note, always have your nice good pair of healthy thick leather gloves, especially when you're doing the firebox. Nothing says I hate barbecue like singed hair in your food. Alright, make sure you always get a nice thick pair of those, especially when you're dealing with logs and coals. It'll save your fingertips and save you from having a trip to the hospital on every holiday. Now I got those situated in there, I can turn my temperature control system on. Usually I like to set anything I'm doing at ribs between 225 and 250. So I don't want to be out here all day. So let's just go ahead and set it there for 250. Alright, got my fan blowing. Now I need to get a nice little fire going on in here. I see it's coming up to temp, but I like to see flames in my smoker. That way I know it's rolling across my smoker and I'm getting a nice clean heat going across. And I want to make sure my heat is consistent from the firebox side all the way to the smokestack side. Because if you get something too hot over here, it's going to cook your meat fast over here, and you want it to cook evenly from one side to the other. Now that we're getting our smoker up to temp, we can go inside, put our seasoning on our pork, and then later on in the afternoon, we'll put the seasoning on the salmon because the salmon doesn't take as long as to cook. So, what we're going to do right now is go in, get the flavorized, tenderized, and a little bit of moisturized too. And then we'll come back and get this smoke sets cranking. Peace. Just came in from outside, letting O2 to get up to temp, which is the smoker. Now we're going to work on seasoning our meat, our ribs, and whatever meat that we're going to prepare. Usually we'll season our salmon later on because it's going to be going on later on in the cook. So let me go ahead and get my apron on, get some nice clean gloves on. Remember, always sanitary first, and then we'll show you how to rub these ribs down. So, what we're going to do is, we're going to always make sure we trim this back flap off. And the back flap of the meat is where the actual hog attaches to, the rib attaches to the hog. We're not going to need that, and the reason why is, if you put it on the cooker, chances are it'll burn before the rest of the rib cooks. So, we can cut that piece off, and we can also make rib tips out of it, which is barbecue gold. So, what rib tips are, they're this little flap of meat, and we'll cut it off. What we're going to do is set it over to the side. We're going to make sure all these slabs look nice and uniform. And while we cut these flaps off, we're also going to make sure that the membrane is cut off. Now some people think leaving the membrane on is good. It all depends on who's cooking your meat. So, I'm a guy who usually cuts the membrane off. That way I like to make sure the smoke penetrates my meat and my rib cooks evenly. Because who hates uneven cooked food? Alright, so now we got the flap off. Trim this little extra piece of fat. Yeah, we're going to have those look nice and pretty. So, now we got that taken care of. Set that right there. Let's go ahead and get this membrane off. So, good key membrane, butter knife, paper towel. You want to turn it where the bone meets the membrane. Take a little scrape, 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 scrape. And when we get underneath and see it start to break away from the bone, we're going to take the actual butter knife, put it underneath, pull that back just a tad, take a paper towel, then pull. And the paper towel will get you a little bit more grip. So we're going to pull it a little bit. Alright, so we'll finish taking off the rest of these membranes on the ribs, and when we get done, we're going to go ahead and start seasoning. Now there's two good things about seasoning, and one very bad thing about seasoning. The longer you put on your seasoning, the longer you let it rest, the better off it'll go. Bad part is, if you don't have a large cut of meat, something small like a slab of ribs, it'll also draw the moisture out. So make sure you get a delicate balance on how long you put your seasoning on your meat, because you want to make sure your meat is nice and moist before you place it on your grill. So now all the membrane is off. We're going to have clean hand, dirty hand class. So what we're going to have is, we're going to take one glove off. The glove we have off, we're going to use for a shaker. It's clean hand. Glove with the hand, we're going to touch our ribs. That's dirty hand. Always make sure that the hand that has the glove touches every piece of meat. Never cross-contaminate. You make people sick like that. So what we're going to do is, move some of this stuff out of the way. We're going to start with the back side of the ribs, because it's basically where your tongue touches first. So we're going to sprinkle some rub on the back side of the ribs. We're going to go from side to side, get a nice even coat. Some guys use mustard. I mean, there's really no wrong way of doing it. It's just whatever way that suits you best. The main thing you want to do is make sure that you at least let your rub set for about 45 minutes before you place them on the grill. And I usually do that especially for ribs. That way it allows the rib and the meat to marry with the seasoning. Remember, back side first. Now let's flip it on the front face side. The front face side is pretty much top side. You know, when you cook, everyone has their own method, and no method is really a wrong method of cooking ribs. It's just whatever method that suits you and whatever method that you want to use to get the best flavor you can. And that's one reason why I love barbecue, because there's no one region that, you know what I'm saying, is better than the other. Everyone has their own style and method of cooking food, and it's all good. So now we got all the slabs rubbed up. Let's go ahead and do our rib tips. Now with the rib tips, man, these are just pork gold. That's what I call pork gold. So seasoned rib tips, you know, just, man, be liberal with it. And the reason why, they're just cut up into small pieces of meat, and they're going to cook a little bit cook a lot faster than a rack of ribs will. And the thing is, when you start cutting meat, it cooks faster because, I mean, it's just a lesser cut of meat, and the heat can penetrate it a lot faster. So let's flip these things over. We sprinkle the first side, similar to the rack, just one side then the opposite side. And we're going to place these all on at the same time. Rib tips will get done, which is a good thing, because we all know you're going to get hungry before the ribs get done. So we're going to get these on at the same time. That way we have something to snack on while the rest of the ribs finish up. Alright, you are ready to roll. And there we go. So now, slabs are taken care of, rib tips are taken care of. We're going to go outside in a second and check this temp on this smoker. Once we know Tootie's ready to go, we'll probably wait another 30 minutes. They'll probably get us to the 45-minute mark, and then we can place them on. Catch you in a second. What's up? What's up? So now we got our meat seasoned. Look how it looks all nice and great. You know, You want to make sure that you get a nice little even coat on all your meat before you place it on the grill. So you see how when we placed our rub on, it penetrated the meat, but the meat doesn't look dry, still looks a little moist? That's exactly what we want. So now we got the meat nice and hydrated, and it's been resting in, so it's nice and marinated as well. Let's go ahead and throw it on the smoker and get this party started like I was talking about before, baby. Let's go. So we got some nice latches, nice little gasket on it, keep our smoker nice and sealed. So what we want to do is we want to place all our rib tips on the far hand side, because we want to keep everything that's not a thick cut of meat farther away from our firebox as possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and lay these out. Then we're going to work on getting this big boy here out of here. So when we place it, we want to get the side that the bone is going to protrude out on closer to the firebox, and that way it'll give us a nice pullback on the bone. And now pullback is what will indicate when the meat is done. So we're going to set these rib tips over here out the way for a moment. We're going to get the last 2 slabs, and then we'll get everything up and going. Always remember, keep your smoker closed, because you want to conceal your heat as much as possible. And we'll be right back. Alright, so let's go ahead and put the last slab on. I don't want a little mishap here. So get these looking nice and pretty. Alright. And we're going to let these go on for about 250 for about an hour. That way we build up a nice crust on those ribs. Alrighty. And off to sleep she goes.